Welcome to the Business Today. My name is Scott Foley. I am your host of the show. You know, when I had a chance to sort of look back on the last 20 years of my life, I think about how decision making got me to this point. What I mean by that is there were certain hard decisions and easy decisions that I had to make to get me to where I am today. The decisions that you make can determine the outcome in which you put yourself in that position. You know, you only know what you know, and I understand that. I think when we make certain decisions, it causes us to think that we made the best decision at that time. Whether it's a decision to go to school, a decision to have children, a decision to buy a home, a decision to buy a car, a decision to pay off debt, a decision to get a divorce, a decision to get into a relationship, a decision to get married. These are all decisions that we make on a regular basis. But how we make those decisions is what determines our outcome in terms of what we want in life. My grandma once told me, the decisions that you make can permanently affect you for the rest of your life if you're not careful. Whether that's in a negative way or in a good way, the decisions that you make will affect you for the rest of your life. I think that's the one conversation that I had with my grandmother that I'll never forget. And I'll carry it with me all the time, all the way to my grave. Because it's really true. The decisions that you do make can affect you for the rest of your life. The decision to go to college can affect you for the rest of your life. In terms of what you want to do, in terms of what you want to learn, whatever it is. And even other decisions too, when you find a partner, best friend, whatever. Getting married is a major decision. I think we can all agree on that because, you're choosing to spend your life with that person. Unfortunately, sometimes it ends in divorce. But fortunately, it can also end in everlasting love and happiness. Some people look back and say, why did I get married to this person? That was a crazy decision I made. Well, at the time, they didn't necessarily know that that was a crazy decision. They felt like that was the right decision at that time. But then they look back and say, that was a decision that affected me and the other person when they got a divorce. Decision making, I think, goes a long way because it can determine your future in a way of how you see the world. Making a decision to not hang with the wrong crowd can really do some good. It can. People always tell you all the time, make a decision not to hang with the wrong crowd because they'll lead you in a bad direction, which is true. And you're going to lose some friends along the way. That's the negative part of it. But the whole point is, when you made a decision to not hang with the wrong crowd, you're making a decision that better affects you, not the other people. So The next time you make a decision, think, is this going to be life altering in a positive way or a negative way? I think those are the types of things we have to think about when we make our decisions, and use that critical thinking skill to allow us to know, what is this going to do for me long term? What is it going to do for me in the short term? That's the impact of decision making in life. People are where they are because of the decisions that they make. Yes, I understand too that the circumstances are unfortunate in which they are in, but they still make decisions within those circumstances. You make a decision about everything in life. You make a decision on what time you're going to wake up. You make a decision about what you're going to wear for that day. You make a decision about what you're going to eat for that morning for breakfast, lunch, dinner. You make a decision about what you're going to watch on TV. You make a decision on whether or not to turn the TV off and read a book. You make a decision to go and visit friends. You make a decision to go watch sports. You make a decision to go and watch a certain sport and watch your favorite team or what game you're going to watch today, whatever. It's all decision making. And it affects you in some type of way. You know, I think sometimes people they underestimate the power of decision making because, you know, sometimes people just make decisions on the fly and not think about them. Well, sometimes those are the most dangerous ones that we can do. Why is that? Because they haven't been thought all the way through. And we sometimes don't realize them till days later, weeks later, months later, even years. Sometimes we look back on a decision we made 20 years ago, 15, 10 years ago, and say, wow, that was a bad decision that I made. I mean, the significance of it is that we learn from the bad decisions and choices that we do make. Well, at least some of us do. Some don't. That's the power of decision making in life. We can make a decision, quote unquote, to learn from that as well, too. Are we going to make the decision to learn from our mistakes from the decision that we made initially? It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to handle. That's life. Life is hard. Life is hard because you have to make a lot of decisions. And you have to make them in a way that puts you in a decent position. Sometimes we don't always do that, like I said before, but you do have to make them. You have to make hundreds of decisions on a daily basis. Humans are pros at making decisions, but they're not pros at necessarily making the right ones all the time, because you're not going to. You're human, and I get that. But the message is the power of the decisions that we make can have a long-lasting effect on us. So the next time you think about making a certain decision, whether you go to the store, you choose to date somebody, you get married, you choose to move in with someone, those are all heavy impact decisions. Think about what it's going to do for you. Hey, it could turn out well. Then again, it could not turn out so well. It's up to you to determine whether or not that's the right move for you. But I think a good part about decision making is it allows you to grow as a human being. learning from your mistakes. So when the next time that certain situation comes up and you need to make a similar decision that you made previously, you have the power to make a different one. You have the courage to make a different one. You do have the strength to make a different one. I know some people may think, well, I don't have the strength or the courage to make this types of decisions. Yes, you do. You have to have enough self-respect to be able to make that decision. If you need to make a decision to leave an abusive relationship, trust me, you can grow a backbone. You can. It's easier said than done, but eventually you get there. And when you get there, you'll thank yourself for it. That's just another example of the power of decision making that we make in life today. We do everything based off decisions. When we decide to take a job, that's a decision. When we decide to quit a job, that is a decision. Now, make sure you're quitting for the right reasons, as in maybe you're going to another state or you're being promoted at another job, you're taking another whatever. And even the bad decisions, when people get behind the wheel and drink and drive, that's a decision that people made. A stupid one, but they made it. And we see the effects of those decisions every single day, unfortunately. People get injured. People get DUIs. And worst of all, people lose their lives. You don't believe me? Go read the statistics. Sounds basic, but hey, it does happen every day. And people who are listening to this, if you like to party and you like to go out to bars, just go read the statistics. I'm sure you see it all the time when you go out. People drink and drive. Oh, I'll just have this one drink. I'll make this decision to have this one drink and get behind the wheel. No, you shouldn't. But it does happen. The power of decision making. And that's what it does. It can make or break you. Yes, it can. And the bad decisions we make will keep haunting us if we keep making them. You know, certain people ask me, how do you know if it's a bad decision or not? Well, think about it. Is this something that really suits me? Is this something that's good for me? Because if you have to hesitate on that, or you have to say no in your mind, then it's probably a bad one. It probably is. But then again, if you have to hesitate and really think about that decision, and then your answer is yes, then it's probably a good decision to make. But it's up to you to make that decision. Nobody can make it for you. You know, unless you're under 18, then your parents have to make certain decisions for you. But even then, sometimes they're not the smartest people in the world. So it really is them making decisions for you even the best for you? Maybe, maybe not. The power of decision making. That's what it is, man. All day long, every day. You know, my grandma once told me that the power of human medicine in terms of starting to like someone that you didn't like before and respecting them, that's a decision that someone made. Think about how powerful that is. Someone finally made a decision to stop having beef and shake someone's hand. Stop being an enemy. They stop being an antagonist. They stop being a negative person. A decision for the better. Happens every day. It does. I see it all the time. Where people who have bad habits, they finally make the decision to say no more. Drug addicts who finally make the decision to say no more. Abusers who finally make the decision to be like, I want to be better. It all starts with how we feel. Then that leads to having the maturity to say, I'm going to make a different decision today. That's the power. Nothing is greater than the power of the decision making in us humans. I hope somebody got something out of this, because this was one of my more serious podcasts. Thank you for listening to the Basics today. My name is Scott Fuller. Bye-bye.